Retake practice for Unit 8 exam, starting off with the discussion of sum of exterior angles versus the sum of interior angles. Exterior angles being the angles outside of a shape and interior angles being the ones enclosed inside of our polygon. Starting with exteriors. The formula for sum of exterior angles is always equal to 360 degrees. Doesn't matter how many sides the shape has, it will always be equal to 360 degrees. So, take a look at example 1a. Find the sum of the exterior angles in an octagon. Right off the bat, we know an octagon has 8 sides. And I actually drawn an 8-sided figure for you here. If I were to go ahead and add up all 8 of these outside angles and put them together, they all just form a circle. And we know from our discussion that there are, in fact, 360 degrees inside of a circle. So if I ask you for the sum of exterior measures of an octagon or any multi-sided shape, it is always equal to 360. We don't need to go ahead and draw in 1b because we know if I'm asking you for the sum of the exterior angles in a multi-sided shape, the shape of a 14gon, meaning n is equal to 14, we know this is just equal to 360 degrees. And now we can apply this in a very different type of problem in 1c, where I ask you to solve for x. In this diagram, we see that we are given 5 exterior angles, very similar to how I've given here, 5 exterior angles. Well, I know that the sum of any multi-sided shape is equal to 360. So I can take all 5 of these exterior angles and add them together, and they should be equal to 360. I have a multi-step equation that I can go ahead and simplify. Combining like terms on the left gives me 2x plus 232 equals 360. Solving this two-step equation gives us that x is equal to 64. Now, comparing this with the sum of interior angles, when asked for the formula for the sum of interior angles, we discovered that this formula is equal to 180 degrees times the quantity n minus 2, where n is the number of sides. Now, where this formula came from, we devised this in class, and I'm going to show you in example number 2a. Find the sum of the interior angles, interior meaning inside angles, of a regular octagon, octagon meaning that we have, again, n is equal to 8 sides. I've drawn an octagon here. We know from our study of previous units that there are 180 degrees inside of a triangle. This is the triangle sum theorem, that if I take angle A plus B plus C, it's equal to 180 degrees. So there's 180 degrees in a triangle. Well, I have an 8-sided shape. It would be great if I could somehow create a 3-sided shape, a triangle, and I would be able to figure out that there are 180 degrees in that. So we would go ahead and divide up all of our shapes into triangles. So we go ahead and pick a vertex. I'll pick this as my vertex. And we draw lines to all the other vertices in the shape. These two don't really do anything. If I highlight from here to here and here to here, it just really traces the sides. But if I go ahead and draw a line to this vertex, we see that we have created one triangle right here, which I'll go ahead and shade in gray. Drawing a line to another vertex gives me another triangle. Repeating the process around, we find a third triangle, a fourth triangle, and lastly a fifth and sixth triangle. So we see that from this that we have 6 triangles, and if there are 180 degrees inside of a triangle, 6 times 180 gives me 1,080 degrees inside of this octagon. Now, jumping ahead to 2b, where we have to find the sum of a regular 14gon inside, and then if any other larger problems like we saw in the test, maybe a 45gon or a 99gon, it becomes impractical to actually go ahead and sketch the shape and divide it up into triangles, which is why we've devised the formula. We found that the pattern of the number of triangles, in this case 6, is 2 less than the number of sides. Notice in our formula, the number of sides, we subtract 2 in order to get the number of triangles, and then multiply it by that 180 degrees, which is the sum of the degrees inside of a triangle. So we can go ahead and get the same result using our formula. 180 times n minus 2, where n is equal to 8 sides. 8 minus 2 gives me that 6, and notice we were in the same exact spot we were before, giving us an answer of 1,080 degrees. So let's go ahead and apply this to problem 2b. Find the sum of the interior angles, again, talking about inside, of a regular 14-gon. We'll start with our formula, 180 degrees times n minus 2, and substituting in what we know of n is equal to 14, gives us 180 times 14 minus 2, which is 180 times 12, which gives us an answer of 2,160 degrees. Now, we're going to go ahead and apply the same idea to problem 2c. I started off by knowing that I'm given inside angles, so very different from 2c where my angles are outside of my shape. We are given that there are angles inside of a shape, and in fact, if we were to add up the sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we see that there are, in fact, n is equal to 5 sides in this shape. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying, well, how many degrees are actually inside of a 5-sided shape? Well, if we apply 180 times n minus 2, or 180 times 5 minus 2, this gives us a value of 540 degrees. So we know inside of this shape there must be 540 degrees. Well, if I were to add up all 5 angles inside the shape, that should be equal to our total of 540. 90 plus 135 plus x plus 88 plus 112 should be equal to our total of 540 degrees. So this problem changes every single time. If I gave you a 7-sided shape, we would have to figure out the number of degrees inside of a 7-sided shape, and that add up all of the individual degrees. So if I gave you a 14-sided shape, you would figure out the total number of degrees inside of a 14-sided shape using our formula, and then add up all of the individual angles and set that equal to that number. So this problem changes depending on how many sides I give you versus question 1c, where we simply add up all of the angles and always add it to 360 because they are outside of our shape. So going back to 2c, so combining like terms, we get x plus 425 is equal to 540, giving us x is equal to 115. Sum